guys, this is Chris.
And this is Colin from Creator Industries.
And we are back to do our From Box to MOCs build reveals for this challenge.
Yes.
What do we have for this week?
This week we have a very much anticipated theme. I'm sure everyone was waiting for it. We were really waiting for it. This theme is mechs. But it wasn't just mechs,
That's right.
It was essential service mechs.
It's true.
Pay respects to all the hard-working men and women who were on the front lines, especially during the beginning of this COVID pandemic.
Yes.
But still mechs nonetheless, which is very exciting. Hopefully you guys are all pumped and are already building your mechs.
So this week we used the sets Diva and Reinhardt from Overwatch, and we had to come up with different mechs or different builds for essential services.
Yes.
And you lifted yours up, right?
I did. Oops. 3, 2, 1.
So this is what we got, and we'll go through everything that we built in more detail with the hand cam. But yeah, Colin, you want to start us off with yours, like a quick overview?
I can do a quick overview, yeah. So Chris and I actually saw each other's builds already, so it's a little bit different from last week's or from the previous weeks, but it's okay. So what I decided to do was I picked 3 main essential services, and I made 2 micro scale builds for each one of those categories, basically. So the first one, starting on this side, is our waste management mechs, basically. So we have a recycle mech, we have a trash mech, and then we move on to the middle, which is our medical field, basically. So we have a medical drone, which scans for sick individuals, and then we have a medical, it's like a hover, it's very Halo-esque.
Sure.
It's a tank, basically, but it's a
ghost.
It's not it is basically a ghost from Halo, but it's a ambulance.
Okay.
And on the right we have the law enforcement mechs. One is a ground unit with a large riot shield. The other is an air unit that has lights as well as some artillery. So that was the way that I decided to go for this one. A bunch of small builds, but they kind of go together in pairs, which I thought was pretty fun.
So you got police,
medical, and waste management.
Waste management. That's different. Okay. No, why waste management?
Because I like the green, and I thought green was good for recycling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then afterwards, I figured I would just do a garbage one as well to go with the recycling.
Those, you know, if you really didn't think about it, like, we needed that. That's an essential one. So
can you imagine if we didn't have waste management the entire time?
Oh, everything would have piled up.
We would have. It would have been so
gross.
bad.
Okay, well, I did strictly just one. It was a medical.
It's so cool though.
Everything is actually, the sizes, Colin's is micro scale, my size is actually real life. Yeah. So these things, human scale. Awesome. So I'm the pilot, because essentially when you have mechs, you need a pilot. So Colin has like miniature people, I have me as the pilot. So we'll go through that in more detail, but so far that is our build. Shall we jump into it?
Yeah, well, do you want to describe a little bit or no? Or it's just medical field, I guess.
Yeah, medical field. Like, so this is my assistant, and this is another assistant mech drone that I have. So I'll go into more details on what they're all about, and yeah, I'll just show it. There it is, and there's that one.
You guys aren't gonna be able to see mine until the hand cam anyway. So let's just cut here. Let's zoom in. That's where it gets exciting anyway. We can actually start talking about our builds, and we'll see you guys in 1 second. Hey guys, it's Colin from Creator, and as we mentioned, this is gonna be the close-up view of our builds. Don't want to waste too much of time, so let's just dive right in and see what we've got. As I mentioned before, we've got 3 separate categories basically to our essential service workers. On this far side here with the green details, we have our waste management services. In the middle with the pink highlights, we have our medical field. And on the far side here with our gray and then yellow highlights, we have our law enforcement mechs. So we'll start on this side here. This was the last one that I built. I had saved the green pieces specifically to do something with recycling. So this first one here is basically a street scanner. So what it does is, he basically rides across the ground. These pieces in the front here that pivot back and forth are scanners looking for anything along the ground level that is small that it can be recycled. And so as it goes over to them, it's able to deploy its arm, which was the initial idea for this big green piece from Diva's mech. And it can pick it up, it scoops it up, and then deposits it into its core piece, which on the inside there's some pieces that are made to look like maybe like a compactor, and it grinds it all down into recyclable material. So I'll move that guy over. The next one that we have is for our second waste management, which is basically a hermit crab garbage collector. It's for larger pieces like this tire that he was holding earlier. Some of the main inspiration for doing something like this was I wanted to utilize these legs, or these basically joint pieces as legs. And there was these pieces as well, which I thought were really cool. I originally had 2 green on there for eyes, but the way that it's raised, it kind of looks like a crab because their eyes kind of stick up really high. So I thought it was funny if I did 2 of them with these big bulging green eyes. But basically, again, I wanted to emulate kind of like a hermit crab, and he would just go around and just pick up all this large garbage with its hands. Something interesting, I guess, for the build itself, based off of like a crab, is they usually have this like one giant arm, and then they have like one tiny hand. And so that's what I did. I did one large muscular hand on the left side, and then the other one is all tiny with just 2 little fingers. So that's what I decided to do for him. Moving on to our medical field mechs. These ones are relatively simplistic. This is a medical drone. So this one isn't piloted by anyone inside. It's basically like an autonomous drone. It flies around, it scans for diseases or sickness basically. Kind of like how in like Big Hero 6, he could just scan their body, figure out what's wrong, and then deploy the necessary procedures. So it flies around looking at all the humans. And then we have a ambulance. And this is kind of a futuristic looking ambulance. It's again very Halo-esque with like the tanks from Halo, the large jetpacks that come out of the back to power it. But basically this would be deployed afterwards for anyone who was really sick or needed immediate attention. It would basically come in, fly through the city, and pull up to whoever needed it. So utilize the pink color as the representation for the medical field itself. Nothing crazy in terms of like the building techniques. It was mostly just getting ideas out and representing it in a micro scale. And these are the first guys that I made. They're probably my favorite pieces. I really wanted to utilize these Reinhardt shoulders. These are his shoulder pads, but just looking at the front, they kind of looked like an eyeball. And so I used that as the main headpiece and then just built down from there. So they're pretty small. They're going to be like ground type units, so probably like double the size of like a human maybe, or maybe a little bit smaller than that. But we have our ground unit here, which has a giant riot shield and then just his free arm. He's got a bit of a jetpack or maybe like a power source in the back. And I just wanted to utilize this yellow as a highlight piece, as well as a way to just represent what each of the colors represented in terms of their respective unit. So the law enforcement just happens to get yellow, and then the second one is a flying police drone. Basically, it's the like artillery unit, so it has these giant cannons that come off the side, or maybe they're just used for lights, spotlights, and then it has the guns on the front for again, law enforcement. So this one doesn't have any legs, it's just supported by the bar here, which is being utilized as just a way to prop him up into the air. But again, a relatively simplistic build. None of these are overly complex in any way. It was more just getting the idea down and how to make them look and represent themselves on such a small scale. So again, nothing too crazy for you guys to see. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the builds. If you guys have any questions about them, or if you had any other ideas for this set, we'd love to hear it. But yeah, that was basically my essential service mechs for this week's theme from Box to MOCs. Let's go jump over to Chris's. He can dive deep into his as well, and we can see what his build has in store.
Hey guys, this is Chris, and this is my build for our mech challenge. So essential services, I chose to go with medical field. And typically when I think of mech, you usually need a pilot. So that's me. And I am a doctor. And for example, let's say I'm doing an operation. So I send out my mechs, and this is a drone, flying drone. Basically, she assists me on doing hand operations as well as diagnosis and a couple more medical features that I will go over. I wish I had a 3D like a hologram thing that I want to pop up, but you'll have to use your imagination. So basically this mech comes over and she attaches right onto my arm, basically clamping down using the mechanical hinges just right over here, and it sits perfectly right on my arm. And that was not supposed to happen. These are kind of like my keyboards, finger recognized keyboards, and this square right here is a hologram projector. So basically it's a screen that pops up and I can kind of see in the future. This is very futuristic futuristic equipment, so you'll have to use your imagination. A lot of these things on the arms of the mech itself are things that assist me whenever I'm doing an operation. So the screen tab right here shows me, for example, like blood pressure, heart rate, like things, data information that I need to operate onto my subject. And we have other things like here are little micro flying drones that isolate as well as diagnose the patient, and it attaches directly back into the drone itself. So I have drones upon drones on this mech drone and so to speak. And basically, like if I were to just kind of like operate, type in all my information, see the diagnosis, I would say execute vaccine, and then the mech would actually just punch in all the information that I need to diagnose, and all these little hinges or little hose parts right here will shoot out the vaccine or sterilize antibacterial solution, whatever it needs to secure or fix the area that's infected or affected. So that's one, as well as these come as a pair. This is my other assistant drone who also helps me on my right side. So my right side, my right hand, since I'm right-handed, needs to be free. So while I'm also operating, I also use this guy who's inspired by a crab as well. Now, how this concept started was I really like this head shape. It reminded me of some sort of Pokemon or some sort of crab-like creature, especially the fronts here. You got the eyes, but I really wanted to put them together, so I just used hinge pieces, and this particular part right here perfectly fits right onto that angle that I just created, and now it just sits up there by gravity. You have these two pincers back here that just locks on to the back, and it securely tightens it up. So here's kind of the concept. You got a tail, that's just for aesthetics. You got 4 legs, and of course, as similar to what Colin made, you got a big arm and you got another arm that's being utilized for injection or some sort of just a way of delivering medicine. And then you also have, like, if I need him to hold something, I don't have any examples, but like, hey, here bud, can you hold this for me? And then he'll just kind of like be my little assistant that looks at me like beep beep. I can't make noises like that, but that's the idea. I got my right hand and my left hand assistants, and together we're gonna cure cancer. No, I'm just kidding. Help people out. So that's it. These are my mech drones. Thank you guys for checking these guys out, and let's go to the outro. So we'll see you guys in a minute. All right, and we are back. Now, we hope you guys enjoyed our like up close and personal mech discussion or like description.
I mean, yours is definitely up close and personal. It's like
you can wear
surgery and
basically.
Yeah, wearable tech. So cool.
One of the things that Colin was making fun of was because I'm into tech wear. Basically, like he said, you literally took tech wear to the next level where you can wear your tech.
Yes.
So if these were only
it's
real,
cool.
Oh man. But yeah, I love micro scale. Colin did an awesome job, and I just wish we can make it bigger so we can like make these things like real life. But anyways, we do have a special announcement for you guys. Yes.
Because we're ending season 2 next week, we are going to do something different. So you want to tell them what we're doing? Yeah, well, we're not going to be doing from box to MOCs like our original, like how we originally do, rather. Usually Chris and I will announce the theme, and then we will go and do our separate builds, and then we'll come together, collaborate, and do a video. Next time, or this upcoming theme, we're going to be building together.
Yes.
We're going to have it all pre-recorded. We're going to be going over the theme. We're going to be collaborating together, doing something a little bit different for you guys. But to make it more interesting, we're going to be doing
a Q&A.
Yes.
So we'll post up something on our It Stories where you guys can ask us a question and we'll answer them in the video, as well as we'll post that on our stories so you can see both. And yeah, it'll be like a 2-hour build, so you guys get to see what Colin and I are building together, how our process works. It'll just be fun. Yeah. So it'll be a good way for you guys to get to know us a little bit more. Ask any type of question, we'll answer them, and stay tuned most likely on Monday for all the things on Instagram.
Yeah, the details should be posted at some point on Monday for the Tuesday information. Yeah,
but think of your questions.
Please, think of as many questions as you can. We'd love to answer them while we're building. Basically, we're really excited to be able to let you guys know more about ourselves, because we're just a couple of faces on one side of a screen. Yeah. So it should be really fun.
It'll be fun. So thank you guys for tuning in. This was From Box to MOCs, week 3 for season 2. We hope that you guys liked it. We hope you guys liked our builds. And if you guys like our content, be sure to like, subscribe, comment on the section below. We want to hear from our community, and we thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys so much.